Norton too? Yeah. We need to get one of these. Yeah. Where'd you get this one from? Did you say Dollar Tree?
You would happen to be Kat, right?
Yeah, I would. She got
I'm
from
Tim.
Dollar Tree.
Lachlan. We finally meet.
They got from Dollar Tree. Wow. I like that. Okay. You good?
Yeah.
Twitter Live.
Facebook Live.
You know Twitter has live now, right?
Yeah, I just haven't figured out how to use it yet. I'll cross
saw
that
it doing
out in
it.
another month.
Computer, but I'm not seeing it on the
Is Chief Evangelous going to be the only one speaking?
Good afternoon.
Guys, the chief is gonna make a brief statement, okay? And then he'll allow for a few questions, okay? So let me know when everybody is ready.
Want to do a test? Testing 1, 2, 3. 3, 2, 1. We good? All right, good afternoon. I've asked you here today after receiving a number of calls from citizens concerning security for this weekend's event. Laws for this march or demonstration. We will also make sure that security throughout the city is maintained. Several weeks ago, the Wilmington Police Department received information from the Revolutionary Black Panther Party that they were planning to hold a march in the city of Wilmington. Our staff reached out and spoke to representatives from the national and local group several times and forwarded copies of the state laws and city codes governing this type of event, to include the state law, which prohibits the open carry of weapons during public protests, marches, rallies, and demonstrations on public property. No asked to complete a notice of intent to picket form. Particular form has not been received by the police department at this time. Our agency is committed to protecting the First Amendment rights of all citizens regardless of their message. With that in mind, we are also committed to making sure that all citizens are safe and protected during this event. Our officers, along with our law enforcement partners, will provide security for this event and will ensure that all city and all state laws are obeyed, and we will take appropriate enforcement action if necessary. To the residents of Creekwood, I want to assure you that we will work hard to keep your community safe. We are proud of the work we have done to reduce crime in Creekwood and the partnerships and programming that our housing task force has provided. There are some good people in this community, and your well-being is important to us. We will do everything in our power to keep our community safe and move forward from this event. So with that, I'll take any questions you may have.
Chief, what's your general plan for Sunday?
General plan is we've got a lot of officers, staff here. We have a command post set up. We have law enforcement partners who are involved in the whole event. I'm really not going to go into much more detail than that, but I assure you that we'll have this under control.
There was an event, or I guess it was a year and a half ago, there were two armed men that stood outside the U.S. Army Recruiters building, and it was said that they weren't breaking any laws. How does that differ, or does that differ from what is potentially expected for this weekend?
Well, I'm not totally familiar with that incident, but if I do recall, they were merely standing guard I think that was shortly after the recruiter in Chattanooga was attacked. And they were there to try to protect our soldiers because they were not allowed to be armed inside the recruiting station. So they weren't there demonstrating, they weren't there marching, they weren't there, they were there to provide security. And it was private property. Remember, this statute for the state only involves public property. And that's an important piece we need to understand. Our public needs to understand that.
I know that Mr. Muhammad, I spoke with him and he mentioned, you know, he wants to take legal action, I guess, on the papers that he was sent. Have you guys heard anything about that, or is there anything that really?
God bless them, okay? You want to take legal action, take legal action, okay? We're going to enforce the law. The law is clear. Okay?
When the subject of what they're demonstrating about has to do with police versus citizen issues, how much greater a challenge is it for you and your team to make sure to handle it properly?
Well, it is, but we have to rise above it, and we have to, you know, the message doesn't matter. We need to handle the situation professionally and not allow any personal thoughts come into our actions. So I'm convinced that we will. Our officers they've been trained. They will do a good job for us. I'm convinced.
You give an extra talk to your men and women before they go out on something like that?
Yes, we will, especially prior to this event.
What kind of message do you give them?
Just basically what I said. Don't allow anyone to get you riled up. Just, don't take it personal, because it's not. Just take it as a citizen expressing their First Amendment right to protest, demonstrate. And that's what makes this country so great. We can do that, and we still get along, as long as we do it legally, and we're not infringing on other people's rights.
Any comment to the fact that the group has said that their whole purpose of having guns is to defend themselves?
No, I'm not going to comment on that.
One more question. Anybody else? All right. Thank you, guys. I will email you the statement if you want to, so you can have that.
I do want to make some. I know you're going to be mad at me, but I'm going to say this, okay? If you really want to help the community, don't show up this weekend and give them their 5 minutes of fame, okay? That's my advice, my counsel to you, okay? Thank you. Have a good weekend.